Oh my goodness, what is that? Oh, I don't know if this is a good idea to come in the woods. So, y'all, I got something to tell you. And yes, I needed to be in the woods in order to get it across. My brain was like, girl, go to the woods. Really, I wanted to go to a cave, but I couldn't find a cave. But give me a second. I am legit in the woods. So I'm gonna have to tell this story, and I'm gonna have to tell it quick so I can get out of here before it gets dark. So first of all, hey y'all, welcome to the woods, and welcome back. Today I was on the phone, I was talking to my bestie. We were getting deep with it too, talking about something dealing with deception. I really don't remember the context of the conversation, and even if I did, I probably still wouldn't tell you, but I legit don't remember the context of the conversation. Anywho, I hit her with this parable that blew both of our minds. So if you don't know me, which you're going to get to know me, but you may not know me yet, but a few of you know me, I've been told time and time again that my analogy game is like top tier. And so I'd be like, really? They'd be like, yes, girl, your use of parables and analogies and all this stuff, you do such a good job of explaining things and making them plain. Well, y'all, I've realized that I'm good at doing that because that's how God speaks to me. He uses common things when he speaks to me, and then I'm able to take those common things and pull out the deeper meaning, the message behind the thing. So like I was saying, my bestie and I, we were on the phone, we were talking about deception, and I was like, yeah, like Hansel and Gretel. And she was like, what? And I'm like, girl, you know the story of Hansel and Gretel? So I'm like, okay, let me tell you real quick. So I'm talking to her. I was like, okay, so Hansel and Gretel, they were brother and sisters. They were the kids of a poor wood crafter. There was a famine in the land, and it was just them, their dad, and their stepmom in their little house, right? Well, pressed for money and scared, the wife talked their dad into taking Hansel and Gretel out into the woods and just leaving them there to fend for themselves, right? And at first, the dad was like, no, man, I can't take my babies out there in the woods or whatever. But y'all know how it is when, how a woman's influence can be on a man, and we can tend to get them to do stuff that they normally wouldn't do. Vice versa, but really that woman influence on a man. So somehow the stepmother convinced the dad to take his kids out there in the woods, right? But Hansel, the little boy, he was smart. So he had all these, he got all these little pebbles and stuff, and he put it in his pocket. So the first day they took the kids out there to the woods, and Hansel was dropping the pebbles along the trail so that they could find their way back to the house. So the parents dropped them off or whatever, and they thought they were good to go. But then at nighttime, the kids hid out in the woods until nighttime. And then at night, they waited for the moon to shine on the white pebbles to illuminate their path back home. So they follow their path, they get back home, just for the wife to get upset again and be like, nah, get them kids out of here. We can't afford to take care of these kids. And she tell the husband again to take his kids back out to the woods. So they did it again. The kids came back again, y'all. The lady was furious by this time. So this third time around, they took the kids, and the lady gave the kids a little bit of bread, right? And so a real little piece of bread. So when Hansel and Gretel and their dad was walking through the woods or whatever, Hansel took the bread, crumbled it up, and he wanted to leave a trail. The only problem is, leaving a trail of rocks is one thing, but leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, that wasn't very smart because the birds ate up the breadcrumbs. So when the sun went down and Hansel and Gretel went back, attempted to go back home by following the trail, they realized that the trail was not there anymore. So what they ended up seeing instead was a dove. And so they follow, they're kids. They see the pretty white dove. They follow the dove. And the dove leads them to a house made of gingerbread. Now, peep it now. These are kids that's lost in the woods, been in the woods for days, and they're hungry. Hungry kids, house, gingerbread, sugar. Yeah, you know, the kids were like, yes, jackpot. Thank you, God. They were like, thank you, Lord. So, okay, they go up to the house, and then out comes this little sweet little old lady, and she's like, hey, little boy, hey, little girl, you hungry or whatever? They like, yeah. And so they start eating away at the gingerbread house, right? The old lady, little nice, sweet little old lady. Yeah, I gotta watch. I gotta look. I gotta make sure. Ain't no, okay. The little nice, little sweet. Y'all, I'm really tripping out here. Okay, I'm sorry. The little nice, sweet old lady took the kids in. You know, she made them some food or whatever. They had a nice, soft bed. She let them spend the night because, you know, they had been out in the cold. So they like, all right, boom, this is good right here. Shoot, this is better than the setup we had at the house. Gretel like, right? So anyway, morning comes. The lady decides that she was gonna eat. See, little did the kids know. The kids were deceived from the start, right? The house, you know, it's like, oh wow, we're out here, we're hungry, we think we're getting ready to die, and then we just see this house made of gingerbread. It smells so good, like we can eat it, it's edible or whatever. And so now we're not hungry anymore, so we go eat the food. And then there's this nice little old lady, and she's inviting us in, and this is like perfect because I thought life was so bad, and here goes this lady in this house to my rescue. And then to make it better, she invites us in, and there's like a soft bed, and we get to be warm. It's like, oh, our prayers have been answered, we are safe. Deception, all deception, right? Follow me, y'all, stay with me. So the next morning, the old lady, which was indeed not a sweet old lady, it was a witch. A witch, y'all, came, and she decided to split them up. She had already peeped game. She'd be like, yup, I'm about to eat that little boy. But before I eat him, I got to get him nice and plump and fat. So she took Hansel and she locked him in a cage or something like that. And then she took Gretel and she just enslaved Gretel. So what she did was she fed and fed and fed Hansel with the intent of plumping him up for her consumption. She was cannibalistic, y'all. Ooh, yes, cannibalistic. And so she's giving him the food. Hansel, though, he was a sharp little dude, because keep in mind, he already knew to grab the pebbles so that they could get back home. And then even when he ran out of pebbles, he tried to use the bread, but the birds had the bread. So Hansel was sharp. So what Hansel did, it's like he kind of peeped game. He kind of figured out that the lady might be trying to get him fat or something. So what she would do, she would go to the little cage. Okay, it's geese, okay. She would go to the little cage and like tell him to stick his finger out the cage, and when he stuck the finger, she would do like a squeeze test to see how plump his little finger got, and so that would let her know when it was time to take him out and eat him, right? Little dude so smart, he found a bone from one of the previous kids that was in there, and when she would come do the test, because keep in mind she's an old lady, so she can't see that much, so he would poke one of the bones through the cage, and she'd squeeze, and she'd be like, dang boy, you still skinny or whatever. So she kept feeding him for like 4 more weeks. So finally she just got tired of. She like, look, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat this little boy, like whatever, whatever it is what it is. At least I got 2 of them, so if he not nice and plump, I'm gonna eat the little girl too. So the old lady went and she started a fire, and I would walk over. I ain't gonna do too much. I'm gonna come right back. I'm scared. Okay, so the old lady went and she put the wood in the fire. I was gonna get some wood and made the oven nice and warm or whatever. And so she tried to trick Gretel. Now these kids were sharp. I think these kids were from the hood. They had mad street sense, man. Like their street smarts was crazy. So the old lady tried to trick Gretel, and she was pretending like, you know, she couldn't reach in the oven to move the wood. So she opened the oven and she asked Gretel to like bend over in there or whatever to check it or something, right? Just stay with me. Gretel was like, this lady think I'm crazy. And Gretel was like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't figure it out. You know, she was playing dumb. Because like I told y'all in one of my other videos, sometimes you got to play dumb on them. Don't be so quick to be the brightest and the smartest. And sometimes just dumb it down sometimes. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes dumbing it down might save your life. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Okay, so anyway, the old lady gets annoyed with Gretel or whatever. And Gretel's like, oh, I can't or whatever. And so the old lady ends up falling for her own trap. So she bends over in front of the stove. And when she bent over, Gretel came behind her, pushed her in there, locked the stove, and was like, clock that. That's what Gretel said to her. So then once Gretel had the old lady, now think about it, the fire in the stove that she warmed up to prepare Hansel and Gretel for their demise ended up being for her demise. Ooh, stay with me. It gets deep. Yes, God told me all of this. It's crazy, right? I know. Okay, so Gretel go find her brother, and she like, boy, you know what I mean? Like, come on here, that lady's about to eat us or whatever. So anyway, when the kids got free, you know, they went through the old lady's little crib and they found that the old lady had diamonds and pearls. Diamonds and pearls. I like that song. But anyway, she had diamonds and pearls and rubies and whatnot. And so they gathered them all up, all that they can put in their little hands and their little pockets. And they figured out how to get back. I think it was like a swan or something took them back home, right? When they get home, they come find out their dad there, you know, he's sad, he's miserable, he's depressed or whatever. His little wife, you know, she died. The famine took her, so she died, she's dead. And he's just in the house, you know, sad and lonely and missing his babies. Then all of a sudden his babies come back in the house to him. He's so happy to see him. And then if that wasn't good enough, this is a poor wood crafter. Remember I told you that. His babies come with rubies, diamonds, pearls in their pocket, right? So Hansel, Gretel, and their daddy, they living lavish, like living real good off the diamonds and pearl that the witch who tried to eat them had, right? And so the husband's greedy, selfish wife, she gone. The deceitful witch, she's gone. And those who were the victims ended up being the victors. You see what I'm saying? They came out on top. They came out on top. So I said all of that to say, y'all, listen. The grave people try to dig for you will often be the one they're buried in. It often ends up the reverse. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to do that reverse on them. And God works like that. So there could be people plotting against you. There could be things that are totally deceiving you. Keep in mind, I said the kids were outside in the cold, hungry in the middle of the woods with no parents, no house, no food, no water, no nothing. What did they want? Food and water, shelter. So what did the enemy create? Exactly what they wanted. Of course they were drawn to it. They were desperate. So we have to be careful of the things we are drawn to during moments of desperation. Ooh, stay with me, y'all. This is so good. This is so good, right? Because it's during those weak moments that the enemy is its strongest. Like when you're your weakest, that's when the enemy is the strongest, because you're gullible, you're vulnerable, you're desperate, you're all the things that are dangerous, that will cause, that would set it up perfectly for people to do you harm. But what you gotta do, you gotta have a plan. You gotta be strategic, and you really have to be quiet. Like sometimes you just gotta play along. Even when you peep game, even when you know what it is, don't let them know you know what it is. You know, you gotta outsmart, outwit the enemy. You know, it's not a fight pound for pound, blow for blow. No, don't do that. You're going to waste your energy. That's wasted energy. No. And then if you're a Christian, our biggest weapon is God. So if we stay prayed up, you got to stay prayed up, because I don't know how Hansel and Gretel was raised, but those babies clearly had the favor of God on them. I'm saying, because every trick that was designed for their demise, they overcame. Like, no matter what, like, God protected those babies the whole time. The whole time they were covered from every trap of the enemy. They got out unscathed and ended up victorious in the end. But what did they do? These are two little kids now. Now, kids are very resilient, and kids really don't take no for an answer either. For one, they stuck together, even when the witch tried to separate them. And the reason the witch tried to separate them is because we are also weak when we are divided. If people can create a wedge in between you and your family, your friends, anything that's supposed to be a unit, they know once they create a wedge that it becomes weaker, right? So the enemy, in this case the witch, she was like, okay, when I separate the brother and the sister, it's going to be easy for me to take over, because, you know, they don't have each other. So they're going to give in to all of my commands. But that wasn't the case, because these babies were different. These babies were from the streets. These babies were from the hood. They were like, nah, I already know your game is not going to work. And most importantly, these babies had the favor of God. Because, I mean, besides being poor, their father, oh, look at that. Their father always loved them. Their father wanted them the whole time. Their father never really wanted to let them go. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. So even while they were going out in the wilderness, clearly their father was praying for them. Their father kept them dear and close and near to his heart. And so at the end of the parable, they return back to the father with riches. What does that sound like? Tell me what that sounds like. I said at the end of the parable, they returned back home to their father with riches. Is that not heaven? What? Am I tripping? Like, am I tripping, or do y'all feel me? Let me know in the comments. If you think I'm tripping, just be like, girl, you tripping. Like, I was with you until that part. You tripping. Or if I'm really on to something, let me know. Because to me, I'm like, Lord, you use Hansel and Gretel? Like, I haven't heard that story since I was a little baby kid. You know what I'm saying? And then me being the nerd that I am, during our conversation, because I was at my computer working, per usual, I decided to type in Hansel and Gretel. Then I found out that the story of Hansel and Gretel was written in 1812, which brings me back to my first point, that there is nothing new under the sun. Even in 1812, dude who wrote Hansel and Gretel was aware of the witches, their schemes, the deception, the lures, the bait, the switch. All of these things existed way in 1812. So if you think, oh, it's 2025, oh, we're doomed, we're all going there. Nah, baby, it's been like that. It's been like that. Some stuff is just coming to you for the first time, but there's nothing new. There's nothing new. I can't believe I'm still out here, boy. I can't stop looking around either, because, I don't want no snakes. I don't even know. It's cold, but I don't know. Snakes might still be out. I got to go. Because snakes, that's a whole nother analogy. That's a whole nother video. Because, baby, I can tell you stuff about some snakes. We ain't going to do that right now, though, because it's getting dark. At least I'm starting to see a few people. I hope they're not witches. Yo, that would suck, right? That would not be good. Okay, let me go before they ask me if I want some candy or something. Look, y'all, that's my time. Okay, that's my time. I hope y'all got what I'm putting down on this message. I know it was random. Again, I don't do scripts. I didn't write anything down. It's off the dome, off the heart. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully everything flowed together. And even if it didn't, I'm going to post it anyway, because this is all a learning and growing process. If you stayed this long, you are a real one. So show your girl some love by clicking like and subscribe. Subscribe, y'all. Subscribe. Let's run it up. I am so close to 300. What? I am so close to 300. Last time I checked, I had like 290. Y'all, I just need 10 subscribers to get to 300. Come on, help your girl out. But even if you don't, if you're still here, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate it. We got to run this thing up. And even Hansel and Gretel, y'all, God is in everything. That's what I'm saying. Like on this Christian faith-based journey, this YouTube journey, this YouTube community, God is in everything. So it doesn't look a certain way to be a YouTuber who has a heart and passion and love of God, you know, and want to spread the good news and want to like speak of the goodness of God and want to draw souls and save souls. You don't have to be walking around in a long robe reading the Bible, man. You don't have to be at the river Jordan baptizing people. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that. Just God is everywhere and God is in everything. So find where God is, like what he is doing, where he is moving, what he has shown you, and just come up here and just share with us. Tell us about it. Tell us the story. Go to the woods and tell us about Hansel and Gretel, if that's what thus says Lord, okay? But you get my point, right? We got this. I gotta get out of here. It's getting darker and I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I don't like this. I gotta trust that gut, that instinct. That's God too. God said, all right, girl, wrap that up. Do that outro. Put that outro music on. Okay, I got you. All right, that's my time, y'all. Be blessed and be a blessing in the house. Go in the house. Don't go in the woods. Don't go in the woods. Kids, don't do this. Don't do this, okay? All right. Respectfully, Tosh. Cues, background music. Hey, 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 hey. All right, y'all, I gotta go.